Hello, and welcome to Arcane Maths. My name is Reese Kessie, and I'll be showcasing my app that I've made to assist with teaching mathematics at all levels. I'm based in Western Australia, so that's where it's all being operated from, and as a result, also where the curriculum coverage will be focused. But before anything else, let's cover the most important part. What is the app, and how does it operate? So there's a two-step process that we use. Firstly, the students will jump in and set their high scores in the different modules of the library page. The activities here are bite-sized and easy to access, so they can be done in the car going to school, on the couch at home, or even last minute in the classroom. Then the teachers can view the progress of every student from a great vantage point using the Observer page. From here, you can easily spot students who are struggling in certain areas or just track the performance of the class as a whole. These two simple steps form the core workflow for the Arcane Maths platform, and it's the reason the slogan makes sense as we support students with the library and empower teachers with the Observer. Now, this is a bit of a chicken and the egg problem, but after I'd seen how effective Arcane Maths can be in a teaching situation, I started to think about why it worked as well as it did, and saw that I was targeting a very specific issue with the platform. The issue is that many upper school students are still missing concepts from earlier years. You might have a year 12 who can't add fractions, or a year 10 who hasn't got the hang of his times tables yet. Students who are missing these core concepts from previous years will certainly struggle when the class moves forward. The way I can see it, this can be broken down into a couple of key components. First off, running a class of 30-odd students is a tough job. When I tutor, I have the luxury of only having a few at a time. Tracking each student in a large class and their current weaknesses is a very daunting task. Then we also have the perpetual issue of homework. I'm sure any teacher around has experienced the frustration where the students who need the most help are usually the ones who come in with their homework untouched. Now, asking for 100% homework completion all the time isn't really an option, but from my experience, not doing homework will mostly boil down to a mixture of complexity and/or motivation. And finally, it's not a rare occurrence for a student to have previously learned a skill, but when they come back to it in, say, a year's time, they'll need to learn it again from scratch because they haven't revised it at all in that time period. So I'm sure we could all add to or expand this brainstorm, but in the interest of keeping things concise, let's move on with these key factors in mind. The library page is where the students will go to complete the actual math activities. It contains a large amount of bite-sized modules that is expanded daily, packed into a sleek interface that is designed to minimize the time spent faffing around in a menu and maximize the time spent on the actual activities. Let's jump in and see what it looks like. So I've already logged into the app on this device. And when I access the page, I land straight into the module selection screen, which is basically just this giant list of all the modules that are available with a handy search bar that lets you find what you need without scrolling through all of them. You can change the background color to suit your mood, and even turn off the fireflies if you think they're a bit distracting. Personally, though, I really like them, so I'll keep them on. Alright, so let's jump into edition 1, keep it simple and have a look at what's inside. From this screen, we can see that there are 3 different difficulties to choose from, and 2 different timer modes. The difficulties change the question type, and they often complement each other, so you're advised to start from the easy and work your way up to the harder questions over time. Then there's the 2 timer modes to pick from. You have marathon, where there's no time limit at all, and the mad minute, where obviously you have 60 seconds to get as many right as you can. and the Mad Minute can be quite stress-inducing when people are running out of time. But for a bit of a demo, let's have a look at the easy marathon for edition 1 and have a look at what's going on inside. So we've got a series of randomly generated questions that are thrown at us with a multi-choice answer. Pretty straightforward. If you get a question right, you get a point, and if you get a question wrong, you lose a life. Lose all your lives and you're out. If you get all of them right and don't lose a life, you can get a maximum score of 100. It generates 100 questions. If you get one question wrong, then you can at most get 99 correct. But if you get 3 wrong, then your score is whatever you stopped at. So the marathon mode, without the time limit, it's designed as a casual, study at your own pace kind of system. But then when you're ready, you can jump into the Mad Minute and see how many you can get right in 60 seconds. This is where the stress can really build up, because you've got this timer that's ticking down in the background, and when that crosses the halfway mark, things can get quite spicy. But yeah, between those 2 modules and the 3 difficulties, that is everything in a complete module. It saves your high score for each difficulty timer mode pair, and you can compare with all of your friends. So with 3 different difficulties in each module, and all of the different modules to choose from expanding daily, the app actually holds a deceptively large amount of content. And with that, let's head on back to the presentation. So next up, we've got the Observer page. This is the place where the teachers will spend most of their time. It's a great tool that can be used in many different ways. The power really is in your hands. Let's take a quick tour of the page itself. So, again, I'm already logged in, so you can see the users there. You have to create a class if you haven't already and populate it with students. To do that, you just need to know that their usernames that they've created their accounts with. I've already made a class, so let's have a look at my one that's already there. You need to pick a module as well, otherwise you've got no data to look at. Let's just look at edition 1, the same one as before. You can see all of the students here in this nice little table. Clicking on a row will let you delete the student, and you can add a new student with this big green button. If you order by one of the difficulties, one of the timer modes in the difficulties, you'll generate these nice graphs that you can use to view the progress of a class at a glance. You've got a sorted bar plot, a histogram, and a box plot, and depending on which stats you're viewing, the plot will look a little bit different. And you can use this to identify weaknesses in individual students or the class as a whole, and all sorts of other statistics. Yeah, so that's the Observer in a very neat little package. And with that, let's head on back. So, next up, we have back to the problem. So, with the Observer page, a simple interface, friendly competition, and repeatable content, Arcane Maths is ready to transform your classroom. Alright, thanks for making it this far. Since Arcane Maths is a web app, you don't need to download anything to check it out. Just head on over to one of the pages below and you can get started. You can get in touch with me through Facebook or emails as well. If you have any queries at all, I would love to hear from you. Thanks guys, have a good one.